If it falls out fast, that's a signal the immune system is attacking the follicle and the hair is being extruded from the follicle. All of the missing follicles have regrown their hairs and now they're starting to thicken up again.
Dr. Ray Nettles is redefining hair and hormone health with data-driven precision, transforming patients through custom biochemical insights. Get ready for a conversation about real results and lasting health.
Welcome back to FAQs with Dr. Ray. And there he is, the man himself, Dr. Ray. How are you today, Doctor?
All right, today better than yesterday, Tracy, and I hear that tomorrow is going to be better than today, so we're sticking around.
Very good. I'm very glad to hear it.
As God orders the steps, we just show up.
That's it. And today we're going to do a case study, right? And this particular young lady is very glad that you stuck around to help her out with her hair.
Okay, case study today. We will be talking about, it sounded like the last podcast you mentioned that people were calling in and they were confused with the different types of hair loss and the pattern versus the blood work, topical versus the oral, finasteride, dutasteride, DHT, latanoprost, hydrocortisone, Rogaine, minoxidil. So there's a lot to consider. And the best thing to do is try to divide things into two. So with alopecia, that word simply means hair loss. And scarring versus non-scarring doesn't matter. You either have a genetic cause to the hair loss, which is a signal to the follicle's DNA, and it will, over time, miniaturize hair. Okay, long term, we call it chronic. Now, the other kind is something that happens fast. Hey, doc, hair's falling out like crazy. That's not genetic, right? But the brain doesn't process it like that. So if it falls out fast, that's a signal the immune system is attacking the follicle and the hair is being extruded from the follicle, okay? So we're going to look at a pattern and pictures from a patient that came to us originally years ago with genetic hair loss. We diagnosed it with the blood panel, and then we got her rebalanced soon, and then had the hair grow back very nicely. And she's I think a PhD student, and she was studying and probably stressing out a little bit and had some difficulties with the family. I think she's a foreign student. And she sent the photo in and said, "Oh, doctor, the hair loss is back," as the capsule stopped working. And she was afraid that the capsule stopped working, and she thought maybe she had to run the blood work again. So the first thing we do every 6 months, we review photos. And as soon as we saw the photos, we recognized the pattern. By recognizing the pattern, we adjusted the topical formula, sent it to her, and then within a few months later, we were back to where we were in the beginning. So we're going to show you the photos that go, the images that go with that case study. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
we'll
this
call
is the
the lady
first one.
Sarah. Here's the lady Sarah. And Sarah came to us, and she was in the office and very upset about her hair. She was in, I think, the graduate school at that time. And the hair just didn't look good. And she said dad had lost his hair, mom lost her hair. And I think she was in from some foreign country, and she was afraid she was going to lose her hair while she was in school. We ran the blood work, and she had a 4-to-1 ratio imbalance. We adjusted the capsules, and then a few months later, we saw that it was working. And then we got some real beneficial photos at 24 months. And at 24 months, the photo looked like here, right? Which is great. Her forehead's smaller. The hair grew in on the sides. The hair grew in on the top. And everything looks great. So this is 2 years of genetic hair loss regrowing. Remember, genetic is a slow, chronic process of thinning and miniaturizing. So we would expect in a couple of years about this type of return of the hair's thickness and density. So this was 2 years after starting, and she was very happy. Then while she was in her PhD program, she got a little stressed and had some issues with the family, and she sent a photo from her home this time because after the 2020 COVID and everything, Zoom was available. We've got clients on 6 continents, all 50 states in the United States. So Zoom is the best way for us to review the patterns on the pictures. So this photo came in and she was devastated. Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously, she thought that the capsule stopped working. She was very consistent. She was taking the capsules like she was supposed to. So I'll draw here a little bit and so we can see what's going on. To figure out the pattern is that we look at the zones and we say, are all the zones affected and are they affected at about the same rate? And that'll be a giveaway, right? So if this were genetic hair loss, it would be thinning in a few of the areas, but this isn't thinning, right? This is hair missing. And then when we asked the history of the hair fall, she said hair was falling out. So previously hair was getting thin, but the amounts of hairs that came out were 150. She mentioned clumps of hairs were coming out as she was combing her hair. She could see it. And it's obvious she has missing follicles all throughout her scalp in all of the zones. So we quickly made an adjustment to the formula, expedited it, sent it out probably overnight. She got on. And then 9 months later, she's happy as a lark. Happy as a lark. We're not out of the woods completely, but the 9 months in, we're very happy, right? So all of the missing follicles have regrown their hairs and now they're starting to thicken up again. So probably another 6 more months, we'll give you a follow-up photo and we'll have this image right here that will look as good as when we were 4 years ago. All right. Any questions, Tracy?
No, well, actually, I guess the big one, because one of the things that you mentioned there was about the clumps of hair loss, right? People always, a big question that I get is how can I tell what kind of hair loss I have? Is it happening quickly or is it happening all at once? But I do see a lot of the time that people just don't notice it for a long time. So I'll ask people, how long ago did you start having hair loss? And then they'll tell me like 2 years, and then I'll look at their picture and it's obviously been thinning for at least 10. You know what I mean? But they only noticed it 2 years ago. So I don't understand how that works, to be honest, but it's interesting.
You would think today, with all the smart tech savvy people and AI, how is there not an app where your phone, you simply snap the photo? We do it with plants. I've got 4 acres and I've got plants everywhere, trees and flowers. I walk up and take a picture. How can we not do something?
You can probably.
Okay. Then
Why don't you and I build one? You and I can build that app.
it's too easy, right? So it'd be easy for us to tell, okay? But instead, and before that happens, they can simply send some photos into you.
Yes.
We will look at the photos for them and we can get them started on either the topical right away or direct them to the blood work. So the pictures would be the easiest. So it should be pretty simple for people to take a photo and send it into the office. So hopefully that'll help people make it easier for them to make a relationship with the office. Just send in the photo.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Okay, and then last week, because we were talking about transplants, so maybe next week we can do a transplant case, like people that have come after they've had transplants, right? Because we've been getting a lot of that lately, right? Where people, they've already had a transplant, the transplant didn't do what they thought it was going to do, or it did for a little while and then it didn't, and see how easy or not it is to grow back hair after that.
Very good. We'll do a case study on the transplants. We've gone over the science of it, I think, and the anatomical structures of the follicles in the transplant case. But maybe we'll just go over the case study of what can happen. Just because someone has, it seems like a lot of people have done the transplants. The last 2 or 3 years, they spent a lot of money into advertising the turkey transplants. So a lot of, and I'm guessing faith-based people made their journey over that direction and had their transplants done. Years later, they're now realizing that's not the end of it, right? That's just the beginning of a long-term, lifelong relationship. Everybody's got health insurance and life insurance. There should be hair insurance. Every child should get it at the age of 16 because 90% of you will have some type of hair loss. So if we had a low budget hair loss insurance, $20 a month, okay, we'll be the first to start it. Hair loss insurance, $20 a month. If you happen to have a case, you would come in and your part one would be covered. How is that, fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, very good.
That's fair.
We're trying
to hair insurance. If you have Stop and Regrow, wear hair insurance. Then you won't get hair loss if you're on the program.
we're hair loss prevention, but hair loss insurance would be, I don't know if I'm going to get it, therefore you pay a lower fee. And 100% of the people in the United States should pay, men and women, because there's a very good chance you are going to get it in your lifetime.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Until next time, Dr. Ray, we will see you then.
Thank you.
Hi, if you like what you see in our episodes and you would like to see more, please make sure to like and subscribe. The link is below here. And in that way, we will notify you as soon as the next episode comes out. And next week is going to be a great one.